Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of NASCAR Chase for the Cup 2005. It is the Truck Series Custom Schedule Season Race at the Kansas Speedway for the O'Reilly Auto Parts 250. 6 races to go in the hunt for the championship. Coming into tonight's race, our driver Bobby Hamilton Sr. holds a 156-point lead over championship competitor Carl Edwards. Qualified on the pole and was fastest in happy hour practice session. Things are looking on the upside for Bobby Hamilton coming into Kansas this afternoon. This is also the second race of our doubleheader today. Of course, our first race took place and just finished a little over a half hour ago at the Charlotte Roval in the NASCAR 21 Ignition Career Mode. That was a live stream on that side of things, so go check that out after the end of this race if you were not able to earlier today. Actually had a fairly clean race despite the technical issues we had with OBS earlier, but outside of that, everything is in the books there, and now we're about to get another race in the books right here, right now. As usual, like, share, and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. As always, we do live commentary races for full races on NASCAR video games and real races when the real season kicks back off here in a couple weeks, starting off with the Busch Clash in 2 weeks from today, and then the Daytona 500, of course, 4 weeks officially from today. I will be at Daytona all speed weeks long, videos at the racetrack, both for predictions, post-race analysis for the races leading up, race highlight videos, and even other videos along the way. So a lot of action coming up on the channel here as the NASCAR season kicks off 2022 edition. Restall Cup Patrick Shadley, welcome into the stream. First down in the chat below. Let's get this race underway. Billy Kramer as well, welcome. Green flag is in the air, and we are underway at the Kansas Speedway. Bobby Hamilton Sr. leading the field to the green, but he did not take off well at all. And the outside lane has a good jump as Adam Bell is going to get to the lead. And now Shane Kirkland, who qualified 4th, gets to the inside of Bell down the back straightaway. Let me know if the mic is a little too loud, by the way. I will turn it down if I need to accordingly. I was testing some issues there, or not issues, but I was testing some stuff out with it in between streams. Hamilton shot out of a cannon off of turn 4, and he's going to get to the inside, and by inches will lead the lap at the start-finish line underneath of the 86 of Shane Kirkland. So despite not having a good takeoff on the initial start, Bobby Hamilton will still lead lap 1 from the pole. That's 5 bonus points for him. Again, adding on to the season total in the hunt for the championship. I mean, if the money team has a car, they have a driver, they have a team, they got the sponsorship, they could go in as an open entry at Daytona. The team itself doesn't need like a NASCAR license. I mean, it's still, even with the new car, if you have the pieces, the parts and pieces to make the race team, then if you show up, you can't qualify for the event. Now, because there are 36 chartered entries, and possibly only 4 non-charter entries, that's where it can become an issue. Potentially, obviously, because they would still have to qualify in if there are more than 4 open entries. But yeah, if they end up qualifying in on speed during qualifying to race their way in through the duels on Thursday night of the 500, then they can run. I would have to assume that this is likely going to be a 2 pit stop race today, but we'll just have to wait and see. Clean through the first 4 completed laps as Bobby Hamilton Sr. leads. Shane Kirkland still sitting in 2nd place right now after a great jump off the start. Looked like he was going to get 5 bonus points there early, but not quite. Still a couple other drivers in the hunt for the championship that are outside the top 2, which would include Brandon Witt, Travis Quaffle. Quaffle, though, just having a DNF in the last race, actually dropped him to 5th in points. Bill Lester's now back up to 4th. Those guys probably in a bigger hole. I would say it's pretty much a 2-horse race. I wouldn't count Brandon Witt out completely if Bobby Hamilton ends up having a DNF, because he has caught Edwards over the last couple of races. Edwards hasn't quite been himself. The last 3 races, he's got 2 6th place finishes, but then he's also got a 17th place finish, and that's how he's really fallen behind Hamilton in the points just within those last 3 races alone. That's coming in with a win at Texas right before that 3-race stretch. So he's fallen off a little bit. Heading into our 4th mile-and-a-half race of the season today. The clean air for Bobby Hamilton. He's got a great handling race truck. Again, was fastest in happy hour practice. Qualified on the pole. He's going to have a good shot to win here today. Potential 10th win of the year for Bobby Hamilton Sr. if he can get it done at Kansas. And with 5 races left on the season championship following this one, another clutch win late in the year would be huge for this Ford team. Couple wild card races still remain on the season. Our next race will be at Watkins Glen on Tuesday night. Will be the next live stream on this season. We'll have to see what'll happen there. Hamilton and Kirkland kind of pulling away from the rest of the field right now, though Kirkland hasn't put enough pressure to look like he's going to pass the Ford truck of Hamilton. Part of it, Hamilton's just hooking the bottom beautifully right now on both ends of the racetrack. Car feels very glued to the track. Definitely nailed the setup in practice. Early on in the race, we'll alternate through the different camera angles for the first time today at the start-finish line. With the audio of the mic also, I was trying to make sure that it wasn't echoing at all. By the sounds of it, Billy says it's good. About a 7/10 of a second lead right now for Hamilton over Kirkland as he's really starting to pull away now as we get longer into this opening fuel and tire stint of the race. Again, it'll be very interesting if this will be a 1 or a 2 stopper. Our last mile and a half at Texas was also a 250-mile race. That was a 2-stop race. We haven't had many of those this season. Most of them have been 1-stoppers, but we have had 4 races so far through the first 18, I guess 17 completed coming into today's race, where we have had a 2-stop race. With this one being 250 miles, those are the races that it seems to be the case. So I would not be surprised if that happens again today, except for Daytona. It's the only 250-mile race we've had this year in which it was still a 1-stop race. Down to the apron at the start-finish line. Going to take a little bit of a short cut through the tri-oval. Hamilton's even got grip down there. Didn't run there in qualifying. He actually qualified on the pole in his first lap. He didn't have to run a second. If he would have, he definitely would have used the shortcut on lap 2. Tested it out in practice a few times. Didn't have any issues with it, at least where he was running. He didn't really run in traffic at all in practice. Never had the opportunity to. He's pretty much by himself the entire time, not racing anybody. And that's pretty much how it's been since the start of the races. He's led all 16 completed laps so far. The one thing he did struggle with the 1.5 miles earlier this year was the takeoff speed on the restarts. We had cautions in all the 1.5 mile races so far this season. And kind of like we were at the start of the year where we were having a lot of cautions throughout a fair amount of the races. That slowed down in the middle of the season, but it's picked back up over the last 2 to 3 races. In fact, we've had 13 combined cautions in the last 3 races combined. Weekly streaming schedule will be up on the channel tomorrow morning. Either tomorrow morning or late tonight. I'll have the weekly streaming schedule up for this coming week. We will not be live streaming again until Tuesday night, which would be our Watkins Glen race of this custom scheduled truck series season. That will take place at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tomorrow we will have a premiere at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, a NASCAR 21 Ignition Career Mode premiere. I'll be at Monday Night Raw in Toledo tomorrow, so I'll be out of the house tomorrow night, but we will still have some action on the channel. Round of 8 opener at Texas. Couldn't have had a much calmer start, though, for Bobby Hamilton. It's just insane. He's been dominant this year. His wins, where he won 5 in a row early in the year from races 2 through 6, was dominant, but he's only had 4 wins. This is still quite a bit. It's more than any other driver. But 4 wins since race 7 to now. So the winningness, I guess you would say, has dropped off a bit. The consistency has still been there, which is why he has a 156-point lead over Edwards. Both him and Edwards have only 2 finishes outside the top 10 this season. But the difference, again, has been the fact that Hamilton's won 9 races, Edwards has won 3. That's the major difference. A lot more laps led for Bobby Hamilton, so a lot more bonus points as well. In fact, he only needed to lead 15 laps today, which he's already eclipsed at, leading now the first 23 laps of the race, to eclipse 1,200 laps led on the season. So now over 1,200 laps led for Hamilton today. If he goes on to lead 115, he'll hit 1,300. With still 5 races to go. Maybe a chance at 1,500 laps led by the end of the season. It's going to be tougher, though, because we got a couple races where we don't have as many laps. Watkins Glen will be a shorter race as far as laps go, and we have a caution for the first time today at lap 24. So caution is out. Trouble. The 191 of Jason Powell will go around, backing down the racetrack into the grass in turns 1 and 2. Looked like he got tagged from behind from Adam Bell. So Bell turns the 191 with a little bit of contact on entry into turn 1. Our first caution of the day at lap 24. Very interesting here. Bobby Hamilton will pit from the lead. He thinks it's going to be a 2-stopper today, and he thinks if he pits now, it's a 1-stopper for him to the end. So 4 tires and fuel for Bobby Hamilton Sr. He pits from the lead. Nobody else will make their way down. That will give Travis Quaffle his first lead of the race. So a very interesting pit strategy call here for Hamilton and his crew. Earl Arnold Jr., welcome to the stream. Who do I have winning the Rumble Saturday? It's on Saturday? I'm surprised it's not on a Sunday like usual. I guess they did SummerSlam on a Saturday, I believe. They've done a couple pay-per-views on Saturdays recently. I personally prefer that, but man, I have no clue who's gonna win it though. I honestly have zero clue, because if they're going with Brock and Roman at WrestleMania, let's say, in a unification title match, does that mean one of them win the Rumble? I don't know. I have zero clue where they go. Not a great restart for Bobby Hamilton initially there. Trey Irby, welcome to the stream. You know what? They might have had it on a Saturday so they don't compete with the NFL. That's possible. It means the conference championship games are next Sunday. Because they would probably interfere with the second game. Yeah, both are champs right now. Unless Lashley takes the title at the Rumble and then Brock enters the Rumble and wins. I don't know. I mean, maybe that's possible. Hamilton looking for a little bit of room underneath of Keith Grimsley, who was stacking him up a little bit. This is risky restarting at the back if you're Hamilton, considering you have a massive points lead. Last thing you want to do is get involved in an accident. First time he's been in traffic all race weekend as well here at Kansas. About the women's Rumble. I have no clue with that either. I mean, if they're looking to unify the belts on both sides, I have no clue who would end up winning it. Is there a possibility that Bayley returns this weekend? Is that possible? Or I haven't really, she's been out with injury for a little while. Feels like she's been off for TV forever. Maybe she comes back and wins. Travis Quaffle leads up towards the front of the field. He has not won yet this season. He's the only driver in the top 6 in points without a win. Of course, Hamilton also coming in off his 9th win of the year at Bristol. Pretty amazing win that day. Came down to the closing laps. Lap traffic was a big factor in that one. Yeah, it's interesting that Mickie James is supposed to be in the Rumble, even though isn't she TNA champ? Yeah. That's what you just stated, of course. I didn't get a chance to read your whole question, your whole comment, but I doubt they're gonna mention it. They might mention it on commentary. I doubt they will, though. I'd be shocked if they mentioned that it was on commentary. Potentially 3 wide right in front of Bobby Hamilton. They're going to be side by side. There's a little bit of contact up there. Hamilton goes that outside lane, nothing doing. Crosses over to the bottom now underneath Ace Johnson in the 139 truck. So far, Hamilton's made his way through the traffic with no contact. 3 wide, though, for the first time as he enters into turn 1. Makes it through. So far, so good. There's Jason Powell, who's involved in that opening accident of the race at lap 24. So Hamilton committing to a 2-stop strategy. Who knows? It may still be a 1-stopper. We really don't know for sure. Another 3 wide pass. There's still 3 wide out of the rear view. Off of turn 4. Contact as Powell gets squeezed into the wall by Thompson. Hamilton roars past Anderson. And Jack Baker. The very next corner. He's 3 seconds off the race lead still. Up to 18th. He's worked his way through half of the field already since the restart. Of course, he's got 24 lap pressure tires, which helps. Made some clean passes so far. Oh, I think Lynch is going to win the title. Well, she might not win the match, but I think she retains the championship. She might try to get herself disqualified. I could see that. Oh, contact into turn 1. There's a stack up. One truck got up into the outside wall. I believe it was Matt Craftsman. Oh, they're nearly wrecking behind. Somebody else got the wall in the back. Behind Lester and Hamilton where they were at. Hopefully there's not too much damage on the front of the Ford truck. Dangers of being in the middle of the pack. Even though we're a little ways after the restart now, Hamilton could have been ahead of all this. A similar pit strategy is what helped him dominate at Old Spice Speedway, though. Trying to do it once again. Hamilton to 13th. Yeah, just a size differential between Lynch and Dewdrop. That just makes me think that they're going to try to make Dewdrop look stronger. I don't think Becky's going to win cleanly. There's no way. And not just because she's a heel. I mean, they're making, like you said, Dewdrop look strong, look like a powerhouse. It wouldn't make any sense to have Becky pin her cleanly. I just see her getting disqualified just to keep the title. Thought Wilder was going to try to block Hamilton into the corner. He did not. Brandon Witt right now just in the back half of the top 10. He's going backwards. Matt Crafton just passed him in 3 and 4, and now Bobby Hamilton's coming through. Witt's going to try to block into turn 1, and he nearly clips the 6 of Crafton. That was a close one, at least. Witt moving on the bottom lane, though. He gets by Crafton, gets by Chapin. Now he's underneath John Wood. Hamilton makes it 3 wide off the exit of the corner. I believe Witt has cleared Wood as well. See if Witt's going to be able to get back down to the bottom after Hamilton clears him. Hamilton sends it into one to the inside of Scott Bush for 5th place. He's got the spot. Fairly clean all the way through the field so far. 3 wide off of turn 2 in the back behind Hamilton right around 8th place. And they'll file down to double wide into turn 3. That's Carl Edwards inside the top 5, running in either 2nd or 3rd place. Looks like 3rd place currently, not far behind race leader Quaffle. Not sure who's in 2nd exactly. I Edwards would like to get a lap lead in as soon as possible, get 5 bonus points, guarantee himself that. Talk about Buffalo Wild Wings. Ended up at Buffalo Wild Wings to the decline of Long John Silver's. Yeah, Captain D's is kind of... I think they're kind of slowly taking over the Long John Silver role. I mean, they basically have the same food. I highly recommend Captain D's if you haven't had it. I'm a big seafood fan, even though it's more of a fast food seafood. We don't have many seafood options around where I live, so... Even though it's a chain, it's about all I have. The closest one to me is still like 40 minutes away, but... It's closer to where I work. It's only like 10 minutes away from where I work, so if I do get it, it's usually after a work day. Contact off turn 2. Hamilton gets a bit wide. Casey Cook trying to pinch him. Not going to work. Hamilton completes the pass. Edwards side by side now for second. And Edwards is in the bottom lane currently. Jack Sprague is in 3rd place now. He also has not won yet this season. He looked strong at the beginning of the year, but he really faded fast. Sprague on the outside. He's seemed like he's having a hard time trying to get his truck to turn. Excluding the 3 caution laps we've had so far, these guys on about 45 lap old tires. For Hamilton's really only got just over 20 laps on his tires. It'll be lap 50 this time by. Sprague may get underneath Edwards into 3. He's taking a look, see if he can get the truck to turn this time around. He got the truck to turn, but he's still in line behind the 99. Sprague again to the bottom of Edwards. Side by side for second. This may allow Quaffle to pull away here after a while. They keep battling like that, although he hasn't pulled away yet since the restart. Edwards back to 3rd. Sprague is clear off turn 4. Yeah, Long John Silver's is good. I haven't had it in a really long time. A lot of them have closed down around me, so not even sure where the next or closest one is. But I would recommend Captain D's. If you like Long John Silver's, you'll like Captain D's. I feel like they have a little bit more options of exactly what to eat. Hamilton's got to run. Edwards with a block. The end of the front stretch, now heading into turn 1. Edwards goes wide. Hamilton on about 24 lap fresher tires, able to roll the bottom a bit better. Edwards trying to hang on off the exit of turn 2. I don't think he's going to be able to. Down the back straightaway, contact into turn 3, and Edwards gets into the wall. Hamilton pinched him. And I'm sure Edwards didn't appreciate that as he now falls to 4th. Those are the 2 drivers battling for the championship. It'll be the 4 and the 99. Sprague trying to block Hamilton off turn 2. Wonder if Hamilton's just going to drive away when he gets to the lead like he was earlier. Sprague goes wide on entry into turns 3 and 4. Hamilton to the bottom. Hamilton is clear in the tri-oval. And now he's going to be going for the lead. Drives it deep into turn 1. Quaffle is a rival, so this may not be an easy pass for Hamilton. Quaffle left a little bit of the bottom open. Hamilton to the inside off of turn 4. Quaffle going to try to hit him off of turn 4. Contact as Hamilton got squeezed. Oh, and Quaffle nearly takes himself out. He hits the wall. Hamilton leads the lap, and Sprague will get to the lead into turn 1. Big mistake. Travis Quaffle trying to take out the points leader. While they battled side by side for the lead off of turn 4, he hit him once. They both kept control, hit him the second time. Both trucks go wide. Sprague takes the lead. And Quaffle's back to at least 4th place, if not further back in the field. And he hit the wall too. Hamilton was able to at least keep it off the wall for himself. Sprague is right there. Now he's trying to block for his life. Heading into turn 3 to the outside. Sprague just looking to mimic the line of the 4. Down to the apron, into the tri-oval goes Hamilton. Got a little squirrely though, and Sprague gaps him a bit. And as they battle, here comes Edwards back into the mix again. Hamilton pinched him into the wall into turn 3 a handful of laps ago. I'm sure he remembers. Not sure why Quaffle's so upset with Hamilton, why we're rivals in the first place. Quaffle's upset about something. Off of turn 4, Hamilton looks low. Sprague pinches him to the line. Nearly contact. Sprague is not giving any room for Bobby Hamilton to try and make the pass. Into turn 1. Just enough room for Hamilton to get his nose in there. And they're side by side down the backstretch. Sprague trying to side draft the right rear corner panel of Hamilton. Hamilton clear into turn 3. Back to the lead now for the 3rd different time, and hopefully he can hang on for longer than a half a straightaway. Easily going to be able to do so. Can Edwards take over 2nd once again behind Sprague? It's going to be tough to beat Hamilton as far as most laps led go here tonight. Not only for Edwards, but for anybody at this point. And remember, Hamilton pit under the caution. Everybody else stayed out, so that's why Hamilton's got about 24 lap fresher tires than the rest of the field. That would also mean that he can go that much further on fuel to the end of the race. Restarted at lap 27. So currently they've gone about 33 laps on this current green flag run. Just wondering when everybody else exactly will pit. Hamilton hoping with stopping when he did that this would be a one-stopper to the end for him, which it should. Should be a one-stopper to the end at least for him. But is it still going to be a two-stopper for everybody else? Not gonna lie, you guys are getting me kind of hungry in the chat talking about Long John Silver's. I'm definitely gonna grab something to eat as soon as this stream's done. Definitely not going anywhere. I'm snowed in today. I think we've got some food stacked up in the house. Not stacked up, stocked up. I mean, I guess it's stacked in the cupboard, but I say stacked, it makes me think that we have like a basement full of food. Like we're preparing for a zombie apocalypse or something. Hamilton not driving away from Sprague and Edwards. The only thing you can maybe consider why they're not, or why Hamilton's not quite pulling away, is maybe he used his tires up trying to pass all 35 trucks in the field. I don't believe any of them are out of the race. They were all in the race still to the last restart. Even Powell, who was involved And a crash which brought out the first caution was still running. Aaron Rodgers to Raiders. Rest in peace, Packers. Welcome to the stream. I don't think he goes to the Raiders either. I don't think he's staying, but I hope he stays in Green Bay. Please. Sprague is not cutting Edwards any slack right now. They're battling a lot harder for second, which has allowed Hamilton to stretch his lead to about a half a second over the last few laps. Sprague is leaving about a half a groove open on the bottom, but it's not quite enough for Edwards to get underneath him. Halfway on fuel now for Hamilton at lap 66. Again, we went green at lap 27. That's going to be very interesting if it will still be a one-stopper. He's probably going to be able to go, you would think, just less than another 40 laps. Maybe another 37 to 38 laps, and then he'll have to pit. It's going to be borderline on being able to make it on 2 stops for Hamilton. He might have pitted a little too soon on that first stop with where the caution flew. Now, obviously, we could get more cautions before the end of the race. I don't think that would be out of the ordinary. Again, we've had 13 combined cautions in the last 3 races. That's not including the one we already had in today's race. So we've been getting a lot of cautions recently on this Truck Series season. But again, you'd have to imagine everybody else has got to be 10 to 15 laps away from their first pit stop of the day. But even if Hamilton does have to pit twice to the end if it stayed green, if he has to pit 2 more times, that means the rest of the field will definitely have to pit 2 more times. I don't see them being able to make it on 1 stop regardless. Hamilton just trying to play the pit strategy outright like he did at Old Spice Speedway. Granted, at Old Spice Speedway, we did see 1 late yellow as well. Hamilton gets into the wall off turn 4. Got back in the gas maybe a bit too soon there. By the way, Carl Edwards still sitting in 3rd. Sprague holding on to 2nd. Watching the Rams and Bucks game, yeah, I'll definitely catch the end of that as soon as get done with this race. I'll probably be doing other things while I'm watching the game, but a lot of that is because my focus on football is pretty much done now. Packers are out, bring on NASCAR. This is where the offseason starts to drag in NASCAR now that I have no more football games to root for. Michigan Wolverines laid an egg in their playoff game in college football. First playoff game the Packers played, they pretty much laid an egg. On offense, at least. Defense was solid. Special teams laid an egg. The offense could have been better. It wasn't completely terrible. Hamilton, just like when they were on equal tires, gradually pulling away. Had to assume that was going to be the case with him having a little bit fresher Goodyears as well. And a little less than 100 laps to go. About 95 laps left at the start-finish line that time by. Packers are eliminated. Who do I want? I don't care. I don't want to win. I don't care who wins the Super Bowl anymore. I only care if the Packers win it or not. I mean, I guess it'd be cool to see Stafford get a ring, but I really don't care. Bengals are in my home state, too. They've never won a Super Bowl. but I'm not going to be rooting for any one of those teams. I can't root for teams that I don't root for on a daily basis. I just can't do that. Like, there will be some people that root for other teams because they hate specific teams. I don't really hate anybody specifically either. Like, yeah, the Bears and the Vikings are huge rivals with the Packers, but I'm not like that as a fan. "20 years of what I've seen are struggling considering changing teams. Bring on NASCAR," yes. Just like Patrick. NASCAR can't get here soon enough. Sad Sharks, welcome to the stream, by the way. Well, Patrick, our teams have one thing in common. We got knocked out to the 49ers. The rest of the field is really stretching their fuel window right now. Doesn't look like anybody pit that last time by. Lap 76. Now, granted, they saved 3 laps under a caution flag as well. So they're at about 73 laps on their current fuel run. Which is not quite where they have to be to make it to the end with just one stop. About a 1.2 second lead for Hamilton now. None of the leaders pit that time by either. Oh, jeez. Almost lost control there off turn 2. Overdrove it. Right front's starting to wear out a little bit now on the Ford truck. Well, whatever happens in your decision, Sad Sharks, just know that hopefully all goes well in the future, and that whatever decision you make, that you know that you can't redo whatever decision you make, whether you go or don't go. You only get one opportunity at it, so choose wisely. Got a lot of smoke off the exit of turn 4, like there may have been contact with some trucks that were trying to get into the pits. Green flag pit stops have opened up for the first time today, and there was also somebody blowing up on the backstretch. That driver was also able to make it into the pit lane that last time by. See some tire marks off the exit of turn 4 as well. Definitely looked like there was some contact with drivers getting into the pits. I will not be at Sonoma this year. Now, I've got 2 racetracks I'm going to out west, but Sonoma's not one of them this season. I'll be at Phoenix for the championship, and then I'll be at Auto Club early in the year. Last race on the 2-mile oval, potentially. A lot of drivers are able to make it a little bit further. So the pit stops opened up a few laps ago that nobody came in for about 3 or 4 laps. Now we have more of the leaders coming in this time around. Hamilton should have a 1-lap lead on the field once everybody does make their way into the pits. You might want to hop on getting your tickets here pretty soon. I haven't really looked recently to see if, you know, what is all available, but I'd imagine with the race only being a month out. I would also imagine, though, with the Busch Clash being in LA only 3 weeks before the race at Auto Club, I would imagine that that's going to hurt the ticket sales for Auto Club. You would have to think. I mean, those tracks are literally, what, within 50 minutes of each other? Less than an hour drive? But they had to put Auto Club early in the season with the reconstruction of it turning into a short track. Still expected to turn into a short track for the following year in 2023. Sad Sharks thinks Rogers is going to the Raiders also. And you'll be at Auto Club as well. Yeah, I remember you saying something about that in a comment section on a previous stream. Pretty cool. I've noticed a lot of you guys that watch the channel are out west. A lot of your home tracks are Auto Club or Sonoma. Find that interesting. Dover's another one. It seems like, I know that's not a west, but that's another one where it seems like a lot of you guys go there because it's your home track also. It's just a little on the strange side considering that most of the tracks are based in the South, so, and none of those 3 tracks I just named are in the South. 79 laps to go that time by for Bobby Hamilton as he continues to lead, a 1-lap lead on the field as we speak. Our only caution came out at lap 24. Hamilton pit during that caution. Everybody else stayed out, so he could go about 24 laps on fuel further than everybody else. Should be able to make it on 1 more pit stop. He's obviously losing a little bit of time having older tires. He's just going to have to hope his pit stop is quick enough that he can hold on to the lead. And even if he can't, he'll have fresher tires to try and run those guys back down again. So he had about a 2-second lead before the rest of the leaders started to hit the pits. I've never been out west before. As far west as I have been was when I went to Road America this year in Wisconsin. Only been in the Central Time Zone a few times. I live in the Eastern Time Zone. I've been all over the East Coast and stuff. I just haven't. Down south, make my first trip to Florida when I go to Daytona in a couple weeks. But I haven't been out west yet. Haven't been down to Texas yet either. That'll have to wait another year. At least another year. Sonoma Auto Club Phoenix. Yeah, that'd be cool, especially if Phoenix has the championship race. That would probably be the more likely one to try and go to. The reason why I'm going to Phoenix for the championship race this year, or plan on it, is because I don't know how many more years they're going to have it there. Especially with Atlanta getting a new, their new repave, and Homestead going back into the playoffs. And I just have that feeling that it's probably only going to be a few more years at the most out there. So I wanted to make sure I got out there. If I was going to make my trip to Phoenix, it was going to be a championship race. More incentive to go out there, so that will be my Phoenix trip. And obviously we won't know the schedule for next season until later into 2022. So I didn't want to have it be too late, find out it's the final one over there. Then have to make the late decision to go, where I probably wouldn't have been able to if I would have made a late decision. Favorite IndyCar race ever is 2009 IndyCar Chicagoland race. That was the one with the photo finish, wasn't it? Like the closest finish, or one of the closest finishes in history for IndyCar. Left front starting to wear out a little more on Bobby Hamilton's race truck as well. 1/8 of a tank of fuel left. He's going to stretch this as far as he possibly can, not only in case we get a yellow, but also for the sake that he definitely wants to make sure he's going to make it on just one more stop. Three sets of tires left at the end of the race if we did get late yellows and Hamilton decides to pit. Even if we get a caution after his second stop of the day. Hamilton's been working with lap traffic over the last few laps for the first time today, as the field is pretty spaced out right now. Yeah, they definitely need more ovals in the IndyCar series. I get they're more dangerous, so I understand to a certain extent why they don't have them. But now with the aero screen, I feel like that just adds more incentive to maybe have more ovals on the schedule. Maybe you don't have to split it 50-50 like it was for the longest time, but I don't see why they can't add like 2 mile-and-a-halves. Outside of Texas, of course. We all know that isn't what it used to be, even for IndyCar. Lap 100 this time by. Again, Hamilton continues to lead. If he goes on to lead 115 laps today, he will hit the 1,300 lap lead mark on the season. And he's just a few laps away now from making his pit stop. Is still out on the racetrack. It was lap 60 when he hit halfway of fuel earlier. After they restarted right around lap 27. Hamilton going to stay out again this time by, and will likely end up pitting the following time at lap 102. Don't want to run out of fuel here. That would be terrible. So Lap 102 for Hamilton. He will pit this time, which would give him 65 laps to go when he comes out of the pit lane. That's how far he's going to have to go, and I think he should easily make it. He went from lap 27 to 102, no problem. No cautions in there either. But Hamilton will pit from the lead. Down to 70 miles an hour is the pit road speed limit. It easily gets on. 4 tires and fuel. First green flag stop of the day for Bobby Hamilton, his second total. Yes, they should go back to Michigan. I would definitely go. I mean, that's my home track right now, too, so I'd be down for them going to Michigan. Now we'll see if Hamilton can hold on to the lead as he tries to get up to speed. And there goes Edwards to the lead. That's going to be big because that's going to give Carl Edwards his first lap led, which will also give him 5 bonus points. Hamilton guarding the bottom into turn 3. Here comes Sprague on the outside, but Hamilton will get up to speed quick enough to hold on to second. Carl Edwards has a 1-second lead over Bobby Hamilton, but Hamilton's got about 20 lap fresher tires now. We'll try to run Edwards down. But that was clutch for Carl Edwards to get that lap led. That was a good thing he had such a fast pit stop with his crew. So Hamilton should make it on fuel, but can everybody else make it on fuel is going to be the question. Not so certain. It's going to be very close, to say the least. I would agree with you on the second race at Indy for a shorter race, like how NASCAR does it at Daytona. The only thing is, though, is NASCAR's been doing it at Daytona for decades. The Indy 500's already been around for over a century. Their second race is the road course, and I think that was the idea of running the Indianapolis road course for a points race when they brought that into the whole month of May. The month of May stretch, adding that extra points race in there. It's kind of the idea with it. That's also kind of what the Freedom 100 was, but then they didn't have it last year. I don't know if they're bringing it back next year or if it's just gone forever. I know it's not the top IndyCar series. It's Indy Lights, and it's a lot smaller of a field, but at least it was still something. Edwards trying to block for his life. Little mistake off turn 2 from Bobby Hamilton will keep Edwards in the lead. Lap truck of Keith Grimsley will be coming up. 60 laps to go at the line. Edwards goes wide into turns 1 and 2. They're going to be 3 wide off the exit of turn 2. With the lap truck of Grimsley to the outside. Edwards didn't quite get picked behind the 119 quite like Hamilton wanted, but it was enough to give Hamilton the lead regardless as they merge off of turn 4. Edwards gets into the wall off turn 4, pushing hard to keep up with Hamilton. Yeah, I was there for the... I almost said the Brickyard 400 last... Well, I'm still going to say it's the Brickyard 400. Anyway, I was there for the NASCAR weekend last year. And I was also there on Saturday for the Indycar race there, which was my first ever Indycar race in person, so that was pretty cool. It's different, but it's still fun. It's crazy how much faster they go because of how much lighter and how much more downforce the cars have. I mean, it was so noticeable of a difference between that and the Xfinity Series race right after it. Oh boy. Laughing at how bad some of the NASCAR... Well, see, yeah, but like I said, though, those stock cars... Now, I've never driven a stock car and I've never driven an IndyCar before, but because of how much heavier the cars are and how much less downforce the cars have on the road courses, even in recent years packages with NASCAR, that the handling of the cars was so, you'd have to imagine, so much harder than an IndyCar, so therefore they're not going to be able to. There's more of a chance of a mistake happening when you're on your own in a stock car versus an IndyCar. Now, when you're racing close together in IndyCar, doesn't matter with it being open wheel. It doesn't take much contact to knock a car around, or, well, and that's the same for stock cars too, but obviously to catch some air as well. So the room for error when you're close quarters racing is probably a little bit swayed towards IndyCar, where that's more difficult. But if you're running like a single car qualifying lap on a road course, stock car versus IndyCar, the handling is way worse than a stock car. Big bobble there by Hamilton. Edwards going to creep in, but he can't quite get to the inside of the Ford truck yet. So the two championship leaders run 1-2 with 6 races to go in the season. Hamilton to the inside of Handel. No, you don't sound like that at all. I mean, if you're just more of a fan of IndyCar, I completely understand. I'm more of a fan of NASCAR, but I feel like people that are F1 fans, or I see F1 fans down in the chat, they think I bash F1 all the time. I don't. I just prefer NASCAR over F1. I've tried watching it. I respect it for what it is. I just don't find it as entertaining. It doesn't captivate my interest as much. I'd prefer IndyCar over F1 too. It's just so much more competitive, and I think that's got a lot to do with it. It's just the competitiveness from the top of the field to the bottom in American motorsports versus in F1. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's fun to watch what happened in Formula 1, for instance, this year, or at least keep an eye on. I only watched a few races, but to keep an eye on that points battle and how tight it was throughout the course of the year between Verstappen and Hamilton was entertaining of itself. And it's something that is rare in F1, not to take it for granted, because it may be a while before we see a season like that come down to the final race as close as what it was this year and come down to the final lap. That may never happen again, but with saying that, those two were also as close in points to each other because they were by far and away the two best vehicles on the racetrack, not just the cars. And that's not necessarily just to say going forward as a team, you know, that, oh, they were the two best teams, so they, you know, therefore earned the championship, which is still the case. I'm not taking that away from them, why they finished top two. But the competitiveness for them to finish first, second, intertwining between each other through most of the season, a lot of it had to do with the fact that it's just not as competitive in the sport. And the sport itself is just not as competitive from top to bottom as NASCAR. Or IndyCar. Again, most of it seems to be North American sports, because even dirt racing, the World of Outlaws is kind of the same way. Maybe not as much the same way, but I think a lot of it's because they have a ton of races, so When you have like 80, 90 races on a schedule, points battle might not be quite as tight at the end of the year. For sure, and that's where they definitely diversify themselves as the top motorsport in the world. And there's a reason for that, the outreach that they have over many different continents. Hamilton's got a 0.6 of a second lead over Carl Edwards with 45 laps to go. Could be a fuel situation, though, for everybody excluding Bobby Hamilton, who has already made 2 stops today because he pitted during the caution at lap 24. And then just pit again at lap 102. Under green flag conditions. Now we're at lap 123, also going well for him with the lead. And the problem is for everybody, especially Carl Edwards, for instance, who isn't that far off the race lead, he can't save fuel. He's pushing hard to try and win this thing, especially considering he's racing Hamilton for the championship. But if he does run out of fuel and does not get a great finish, he's only going to fall further behind Bobby, and will increase that points lead even more for Hamilton. All you want going into Daytona is a chance to win the championship, though, if you're Carl Edwards, even if it isn't a super tightly close battle going into that regular season, and, well, I should say season finale at Daytona, to crown the champion. If you have a shot, anything could happen. We saw a big one on the final lap in the season opener at Daytona where Hamilton was involved and finished 18th. Just imagine if he would have finished worse than that when he wrecked coming off of turn 4 that final lap. I think ARCA's going back to Milwaukee this year, if I'm not mistaken. They either went there last year or this coming year they're going to Milwaukee. But I thought I remember them bringing it back. Might have to double check on that. But I think ARCA's racing there this year. So maybe that's hopes that Indycar could potentially go down the road like the following year, who knows. Maybe NASCAR starts going back there again. They ran the Busch and the Truck Series at the time a ton there. Every year it was a regular place for them to go on the schedule. Barring the lockout as far as spring training goes, though, Billy. See how that whole thing all goes down. Because they usually start calling them down middle of February. And this coming week's the last week of January. We're only about, what, 3 weeks away from when they would usually call the teams down. .40 laps to go at Kansas. Hamilton has already clinched the most laps led today. Continuing his dominance and trying to go for back-to-back wins once again this season, looking for his 10th. And what has been a stellar season so far for himself in the Truck Series. Hamilton's out to almost a 1 second lead over Carl Edwards. Now 38 laps left. A 4-lap truck's coming up very soon for Hamilton as well. He's definitely going to want to get by those guys as quickly as he can. Make sure Edwards doesn't try to close that gap whatsoever. That'd be cool to see. If NASCAR goes back to Canada, I know Canadian Tire is a great track, but the outreach at Montreal is a lot bigger, and I feel like that would be better for the sport overall. Or, the heck, go Montreal and Canadian Tire. Have the Truck Series run at Canadian Tire still, and then just run, you know, an Xfinity or a Cup race in Montreal. I'd be alright with that. I think the Xfinity Series going to Portland next year also, you could potentially see maybe Portland show up on the Cup Series down the road. Depending on, obviously, attendance turnout and all that. 1.2 seconds is the lead. Hamilton's worked his way through the first two, now the first 3 lap trucks in this 4-truck group. There's Adam Bell, qualified outside of the front row. Hamilton to the inside of him. It'll be interesting if we see a caution before the end of this race, because you would imagine everybody that's close on field might just pit just to make sure they're good. And that could put Bobby Hamilton in a very interesting situation, to say the least, considering there's still quite a few trucks on the lead lap. And if he stays out and he's on older tires, he's going to have a tough time trying to hold on, despite how fast his race truck is. Could be in danger of losing more points to Edwards as well, especially if Edwards is the one that gets by to win. Any good NASCAR rain races? There's only been a couple of them. The Roval for the Xfinity race was sloppy, but I mean, it was still entertaining. They raced at Coda in the rain. I know they've had a Mid-Ohio rain race before. And they had rain tires on for the beginning of the Roval Cup race in 2020, but outside of that, I can't really remember a time where there was racing in the... Well, I think, what was it, the Busch Series in Montreal, didn't they have a rain race too, or was that in Mexico? I know it was an international race, but I know they had a rain race once also. Those are the only ones I can think of off the top of my head, though. I don't think there was any other ones. "30 laps to go. Hamilton pulling away. A little bit fresher tires, of course. I think Edwards, knowing that his shot to win is likely out the window at this point without a caution, I think you have to save fuel to the end now while still trying to manage at least a second-place finish. You're going to lose points to Hamilton finishing behind him. Edwards was able to at least lead a few laps, so he's got 5 bonus points. Hamilton's already locked up 10 bonus points for leading the most laps. So you're probably going to lose 15 to 20 points to Hamilton today regardless. I believe 20 points. But with 5 races to go, a couple more wildcard events left. Watkins, Glen Daytona. It's not over yet for Edwards. got to make it to the end of this race. Who would have thought that early caution could have changed the complexion of this one as much as it did, assuming that that is the only yellow. So far, it has been, and we've had a 113 lap green flag run since the restart. Nationwide Xfinity, yeah. The Busch Series. Hamilton halfway on fuel with 27 to go. Again, he should make it to the end. He'll probably be right around an eighth of a tank to a quarter of a tank on fuel when the checkered flag flies, but he should make it to the end. I don't think there will be any issues, so no reason for him to save. And he pit quite a ways after everybody else. About 20 laps afterwards. That's why it's going to be so much closer for them. Comment down below in the chat, do you think everybody else can make it on fuel to the end of the race? Or if they will have to make a second stop at some point. And who knows, maybe Hamilton wouldn't have even tried to pit during that caution earlier in the day. It sacrificed that track position. If it didn't go so well at Old Spice Speedway when he tried this strategy. Because this was the exact same strategy he tried at the Old Spice Speedway. And it worked out perfectly. Dominated the rest of the race. Only had a couple trucks finish on the lead lap because of it. Here today at Kansas, if it stays green, it's the right call. And even if it doesn't stay green, if everybody pits during the late caution anyway, then it's not really going to matter. Because he's already gotten to the lead. He's pulled away to about 3 seconds now ahead of Edwards and the rest of the field. The strategy itself has done its job. He knows he's good to the end. It's just relying on everybody else to race clean these final 23 laps to make it to the checkered flag unscathed. I've watched some modified series races. Usually when they race at New Hampshire, I try to watch that one. That's always really fun. I've never watched a Pinty or a Euro Series race, though. Billy thinks they will make it on fuel. Hamilton underneath Billy Wilson makes the clean pass. Andy Lyman in the 164 now just in front of him. Now he gets underneath Lyman in turns 3 and 4. Wilson going to follow Hamilton to the inside of Lyman. Hamilton clear off turn 4. 20 to go. How about this, though? Doubleheader, 2 different series, 2 different games, and we might have a chance to get it, at least not only make it to the end in both races, but potential top 2 in both as well. Nearly perfect. I like Coliseum race with Mickey Dis. I know, honestly, it's not going to be as fast as Bristol as far as speeds go. Track's a little bit short, so maybe the lap times will be right around there, but the track is so small, the speeds aren't going to be super, super fast. Do we know, is it a third mile or a quarter mile? Because I know there was two different layouts that they were debating on what it could have been. A little contact. Hamilton pulled up on the 192 of Chris Sweeney. Put himself and Sweeney in the wall there. He got a little complacent with trying to clear him in the tri-oval. And very fortunate that did not bring out a caution. That's the last thing Hamilton needs. But we do stay green. And now 17 to go at the line. Still a 3.3 second lead for Hamilton. We'll alternate through the different camera angles one final time over the next 4 laps in tonight's race. 0.25 according to Wikipedia. Well, is that... It is a quarter mile, okay. I was going to say, I know the track and field track would be a quarter mile, but that's because all track and field tracks are a quarter mile. A lot of clean air in front of Bobby Hamilton currently. That's also going to help. At least we're trying to stay out of trouble. He's barely made any mistakes at all today, though. All minimal. Tires starting to wear out a little bit more as we get closer to the finish. Could have a capability of green-white checker finish. One attempt at least if we get a late enough yellow. So we wouldn't have to worry about a late caution potentially ending the race in the Truck Series. Hamilton's maybe grown a half a second ahead over the last few laps, so that's about it. Edwards starting to find a little bit of pace. I wonder if he was saving fuel and feels as if he has saved enough now. 11 to go at the line. Hamilton hoping it stays green. No cautions come out on the final lap. For a fair warning. So once Hamilton gets to the white flag, they will get back to the checker. Ten to go, this time by at Kansas for Bobby Hamilton. Looking for win number 10. 3.5 second lead. 1/10 of a second faster that last lap alone. At least 2 trucks out of the race today for engine failures. At least 34, or at max 34 more trucks still on the track. Saw a caution with about 15 laps to go at Old Spice Speedway. And Hamilton's last win. But he had a 1-lap lead on the field when it happened because of pit strategy. Herbie Solomon, welcome to the stream. Am I going to the 500? Yes, I am. My first ever Daytona 500. I'm excited. Highly excited. Gonna be watching some classic Daytona 500s to get me prepped and ready to go leading up to it. Quarter tank of fuel left, 7 to go for Bobby Hamilton. Should be able to make it. Gotta meet LOL. Hey man, I'd be down. Yep, I remember. Lead's still sitting at 3.5 seconds. Five to go. I don't even think Hamilton's going to catch another lap truck in this race. Haven't seen anybody pit here within the last few laps. Again, it's going to be very close on fuel for everybody, excluding Hamilton. They're on a one-stop strategy. Hamilton on a two-stop strategy. The tire wear has increased enough to where Hamilton is looking as if he'll hang on. I would assume Carl Edwards is still hanging on to second place. Hamilton shouldn't pull that much further ahead in the point standings, assuming Edwards does finish second. But it's still pulling away nevertheless, making it that much difficult for Edwards with just 5 races to go. Heading into Watkins Glen for the second time this season in our next race on Tuesday night. 2 to go at the line. Can Hamilton get to the white flag now? He's still hustling through 1 and 2, trying to get there as quick as possible. As he barrels off of turn 4, he'll get there. White flag in the air, 1 lap to go. And we're going to round this race out with a 131 lap green flag run to the finish. Just the lone caution all the way back at lap 24 where Jason Powell got spun off the front bumper of Adam Bell and the 123 truck in turn 1. Single truck accident, that was it. Dominated performance on pit strategy today. It worked out to perfection once again. And this will be the 10th win of the year for Bobby Hamilton Sr. He will win the O'Reilly Auto Parts 250 at the Kansas Speedway. And Hamilton closer to eyeing this custom scheduled Truck Series championship on NASCAR Chase for the Cup 2005. And how about that? Our doubleheader today, I finished first and second in both races. I will take that. That is pretty cool. That includes a full race of NASCAR 21 Ignition of all games. Hamilton dominated. He was fastest in practice. He qualified on the pole. We knew he was going to be a threat to win because of it, and he did what he had to do. Pretty clean day all the way throughout. Take a look at the top finishers in today's race. An hour, 31 minutes total time. Again, 1 caution for 3 caution laps, 6 lead changes total. 131 laps led today for Bobby Hamilton. He now has over 1,300 laps led on the season. Jack Sprague leads 3 laps, finishing second after qualifying 17th. Travis Quaffle led 28 laps today, finishing third. Brandon Witt 4th, and Bill Lester rounds out the top 5. Matt Crafton finished in 6th, Aaron McGee 7th, John Wood 8th, Casey Cook 9th, and Hamilton's teammate Chad Chafin rounds out the top 10. Had a total of 20 drivers finished on the lead lap, and we had a couple DNFs in there, 2 engine failures. Doug Thompson and Carl Edwards blew an engine. Oh, a big hit in the championship for Edwards. He led 5 laps today, but we assumed he would have finished second, but he dropped out of the race with about, looks like 32 laps to go. So with 32 to go, Edwards DNFs. His first DNF of the season. And it couldn't have come at a more costly time this season. And that's just going to give a massive points lead all of a sudden now to Bobby Hamilton. That's insane. That's going to get Brandon Witt second place in points now as well. Double whammy there. Well, like, share, and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. I will see you guys in the next stream on Tuesday night. I will try to be in the chat tomorrow for the premiere of NASCAR 21 Ignition Career Mode at Texas. That will also be at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow night. Definitely check it out. Again, I will try to be in the chat. I'm going to Monday Night Raw tomorrow night in Toledo, so we'll see how that works itself out. But thanks, everybody, for watching. I'll catch you next time.